Hello to creating and assigning a Google Forms quiz in Google Classroom, presented by Rod Hooper, Instructional Technology Curriculum Coach for the St. Lawrence Louis BOCES Model Schools program. Step 1 in making a Google Forms quiz is to open up Forms. So we're going to go to New, More, Google Forms. Now, here's where your first option is. You can jump right to a blank form or from a template if you have one. I do not have a template made, so I'm just going to click on the forms. This is because I have it in a shared folder. And here is our Google form. And sample quiz. And if I click up here in the untitled form region, it will take on whatever I type there. So your form is now named sample quiz. To make it an actual quiz, we could complete this and then go back and make it a quiz, or make it a quiz right now. And as we build it, we can fix the options as we go along. So quizzes. Make this a quiz. And then we have turn on locked mode, or release grade immediately after submission, or later after a manual review. Respondents can see the missed questions, correct answers, or point values, whatever you wish at this point. And then you click save. Now, as we go through this quiz, creating it, you will see the options for making points and telling what the right answer is. I suppose the next step in our quest for completing our quiz is to start the quiz. So underneath the title of the quiz, this might be where you would mention things like do your best work, complete all answers, the typical pre-test explanation. And then we can actually get to our questions. We'll do a multiple choice question first. Spell. And each question now, you will have the answer key option that you don't see until you make it a question, or until you make it a quiz. And then you can go in and say, what is the correct answer? And how many points is that worth? And then, if you wish, you could leave feedback. And when you're done with that, you say done. Now, another important thing to do is make sure you say required. If you want them to do it, you got to make it required, or they'd be able to skip right over it. Another option that we have is to insert images. So I'm changing this question. I'm making it visual. So which of these is a fuel pump? So I will click on the first answer, which I've already indicated is correct. So I'm going to want to make this one actually say fuel pump. So I go in here and I can type, doing a Google search, unless I had my own images already, I could upload them, but I find a fuel pump picture and I can put that fuel pump picture in. Now I no longer need the text. And there is my first option, and then I will pick something for another image. And that would be a wrong image. So you can use images as answers. You could also put an image in as part of the question. Another option that you have, let's say you're going to have several questions, you want to base them on one image, you could use the image button over here to add an image. And then underneath that, you could add a question based on the image above. Blah, blah, blah. And then you could then create another question under that based on the image above, what other blah, blah, blah. And this is how you could just put the image in there once without having to do multiple images of the same thing for each of the question. So if you've got a political cartoon or a map and you want to ask several questions based on that, that's how you do it. Let's do a short answer question. And for a short answer question, you want to make sure that the answer you're looking for is pretty unique and that you can't have many variants of it. And that will make your life for auto grading so much more pleasant. So for instance, 4 plus 4 equals. All right, well, first thing is I'm going to change it from multiple choice to short answer. Now I'm going to go to my answer key. And I'm going to say, well, the correct answer for this is 8. But is that the only correct answer? Well, they may spell it out. They may also do the whole equation over again. So I am typing in what I will accept as correct answers. Maybe they will spell it incorrectly. Will I take ATE for an answer? That's up to you. Since this is a fill in the blank, I'm going to say that's worth more than a multiple choice question. So I'm going to call this one 2 points. Mark all other answers incorrect. So that way you don't have to go back and auto grade it. You can still, if somebody types something that's correct, you can override and give them credit for it. And then again, if you wish to leave feedback, you can. I'm going to say done. And of course, don't forget, you have to make this required. Otherwise, they can skip it. So if we keep adding questions, we're going to end up having a scrolling page, meaning the students will have to scroll down and keep going down and down to answer each additional question. That can be discouraging too, because they might scroll down and see there are like 15 questions left. And we can eliminate or remedy that by actually breaking our quiz up into sections. And if I go down here, make sure I'm on that last question and hit the add section, that will be like creating a new page to the students. So for instance, they'll get down to my last question that I've got on this first section, and they'll have a next button. So when they click next, it takes the old questions away and shows them the next batch of questions that we're going to create. I'm going to actually do a text box here where I can say, watch the video and then answer the next essay question or essay questions. So to add a video, I'm going to click on the video button, and I'm not going to search for a video. I don't like to search here. You can't search. You do a title and then you see a bunch of things related to it. You'd have to insert it and then you can view it. So I prefer to do my search first, find the one I like, go to the URL option, paste that in, and then insert it. Because it's not fun trying to preview a video that you have to insert here first. So go look for the video first, get the link. And then the students, for some reason in Google Forms, can't expand this or go full screen. So I like to make sure that it's as big as I can make it here for them. And then I can add my next question. What was the host doing to make sure his pizza turned out delicious? And you could put, 5 to 1,000 words or something. Give the whatever it is you want them to do. And don't forget to turn this into a paragraph question. Now, this will not be auto-graded. you'll have to grade that, but I'm putting it in here so I can show you how easy it is to do this afterwards. Make it required. All right, let's talk about settings. But before we get to the settings, notice that after I have all my questions and put their points totals in, I see what the overall totals are. If I'd like something easier to work with than, say, 13 points, I could go down and readjust all of the values for my questions. But let's get to the settings. So here's the gear. I'm going to click on the gear. And the first thing, probably what I would do is collect the email address. And that way, the student will have to have been logged in, and it will identify them by their email address. You could, if you just have students in your district, limit it to your district. If you're distance learning and you have students from multiple districts, you'd want to uncheck that. You can also limit to one response. You could only limit to one response if you're collecting email addresses, because that's how it knows if that person has submitted or not. I would suspect for a quiz, you're not going to have them edit after submit, nor do you want them to see the summary charts and text responses yet. Under presentation, if you have created sections, you can have the show progress bar. I kind of like that. It lets you know they're on step 1 of 4 or something. You do also have the option to shuffle the question order. I'm not sure if you want to do that or not. And then you can have thanks for taking the quiz, or whatever confirmation message you want to have. And again, the first thing we did was we actually had turned this on, our quizzes. So you could still change your mind on any of these options if you want. So you may say, maybe don't want to do this just yet. Maybe wait till you're all done. And then save. Right, now that you've completed your quiz, we want to get it out to the students. The non-Google Classroom route would be you would click on the send button. And then you could click on the email, and if you have your students in an emailing group, you could simply bring that group up and email it to them. Or you could click on the link here, and you can even shorten it, and then you could copy it and then go to your email if you're doing something other than Gmail, and you could still send that out to them, or print it out, put it in a packet, however you want. That is the link to do your quiz. But if you've got Google Classroom, you can go to your classroom, switch to classwork, create an assignment, and then go to add and your Google Drive, and recent pops up. And since I just had this opened, here is my quiz right here. And then I will say add. And now I can assign it, or I could actually schedule it if I wanted to open it up later. If I want to apply it to multiple classes at once, I can check them all the ones I want. Maybe this is only for certain students, so I could uncheck the students I didn't want to have take this. Points value, due date, topic, which you can't see because my picture thing's in front of it. No need for a rubric or originality report for this. And if I wanted to, I could give some directions, take your time, do the best job you can, blah, 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 and click assign. And when the students come in, they would, on the stream or under classwork, they would see this, they would click on it. They would see it more like this. Of course, the only thing we're missing from student view is the submit button. So they could take the quiz, complete it, and then come back to this page after they're done, just click the submit button. That just lets you know they're done. They could take the quiz, forget the submit button, you'll still see the quiz results. If I had a student who had completed it, I would see one, and then I could click on it and actually review that quiz that the student took. And now from a student perspective, if the student goes to your Google Classroom, And right on the stream is the quiz. They can now take the quiz and submit. They can view their accuracy, but because I did not give them any options for seeing if they're right or not, I turned those off. That's not going to really do too much for them. And if they go to open assignment, they are going to see that it actually has been submitted for them. So they've got it fixed, so you don't have to submit it. If they click unsubmit, it will unsubmit, but their test is still in there. They can't retake it, even though they could unsubmit it. The results are in. They can't do anything about it. So unsubmit means nothing if they were to do that. So now I'm going to check and see if anybody's completed my quiz. Go to classwork. I go to my topic that I put it under, and I can see 2 out of 4 of my students have completed the quiz. Normally, if this were an assignment, you would click on that and it would take you right to each individual. You'd click on the individuals to, look at the assignment. But this is a Google quiz. Everybody takes the one quiz. So you actually have to click on the quiz itself. And it's going to open up, and you have to go down to the pencil and you turn it to edit mode. And then we're going to go to responses. Now it opens up in summary view. So you can go down through and see how each of the students did. And it groups them all together. You can also look at each individual. So if I wanted to look at this person's, I could scroll down through and look how they answered everything. The thing you might want to do if you're going to grade all the essay questions is just click on question. And then if you go to the question, you see all of the student responses. So I've got 2, so I have 2 essays here. And I've already gone down through and I could grade them. And type in what you want for a grade. And then I'm going to save. And I have now graded the essays. For this video, I'm going to show you how you can remove one response from a Google form that you use for a quiz. So I opened up my Google form, and now I'm going to click on responses. And if you're in summary view, you'll want to switch to individual. Once you're in individual, you can look and see, is this the individual you wish to remove the responses from? If not, just use your arrows to navigate. Oh, here's the one. And then there's the trash can. And then just say yes. And now that one person will be able to resubmit their Google form. Whenever you have edited the quiz, you graded the essays or marked something correct if they had it corrected, but it wasn't one of your correct acceptable responses, you'll have to go back to the student work and click import grades. And give it a second, and then their grades will show up. Just a couple tie-up items. When you have, well, you don't even have to wait for all your responses. You can do this at any time. It will continue to update. If you want to see this in a spreadsheet, you click this little green icon, and you can create a new spreadsheet. You can call it whatever you'd like. You could even add it to an existing spreadsheet if you want to combine them. I'm going to just say create, and this is going to create a spreadsheet. So I'll have the information, the timestamp of when they took it, who took it, with their emails there, and I can look through and see all the responses in a sheet. Now, another option is you could stop accepting answers. So when you're all done with the test and you don't want them to take anybody to click on anymore, you just stop it by clicking that. Another option is if you're going to use the same thing next year, you might want to delete all the responses so it's nice and clean and you can start over with new data.